scene of one of San Diego's most cold-blooded murders.
Socialite Betty Broderick shot her husband and his new wife in a double murder that rocked San Diego County.
I was telling people I was crazy. I went crazy. I was like this, and you see pictures of me like this.
You're making me mad. I'll kill you.
It made good sense to me.
What made sense?
Taking the gun so I could make them listen to me.
Everything just came down on me, and I just couldn't stand it another minute.
31 years after she emptied her revolver, killing her ex-husband Dan and his new wife Linda, Betty Broderick remains one of San Diego's most notorious killers.
The misconception is Betty is someone who's vengeful, wanted everything, and when she was denied anything, went after him. That was a tragedy that it was played that way, but it's not the truth of the case.
Dan always said she would never hurt him because he was the golden goose. Well, he misread that one.
In 1991, the twisted tale of Betty Broderick captures the nation's attention. The murder trial becomes a sensational media storm. The nationally televised court case marks the dawn of a salacious tabloid culture. The first trial ends in a mistrial. Did Betty intend to kill her husband? The jurors could not agree. A year later, a different jury convicts her of 2 counts of second-degree murder.
When the affair is finally divulged, what does he do? Does he go and say, yes, I did something bad. I broke a confidence. This is something that we don't do to people that we love and people that we're committed to. Did he do that? No.
The most attractive part of this case for me was the fact that it was a period of time when there was a lot of turmoil about women's rights, their places in society, how they're treated, what's expected of them, how people were looking at the independence of women and where their place is in society.
A socialite stay-at-home soccer mom, Betty follows the rules. Get married, be a supportive wife.
They were Catholics. You get married, you stay married for life, and you don't get out of it. And she definitely believed that.
It was her time to enjoy the fruits of her labor and be the wife of a successful attorney. And I think she felt she was robbed of that.
He was breaking the deal. And I think in some level, she never could accept that he had the right to divorce her.
In the 1980s, Betty's case resonates with millions across the country who can relate to her story. After the trial, even Oprah speaks with her.
I put my children and my husband before myself, but I thought that was right, and I don't apologize for it, and I was happy that way.
Are you sorry?
I'm sorry about this whole thing, but I'm mostly sorry that Dan Broderick chose to conduct our marriage and our family and his life the way he did. There was no reason for it, and it was brutality, and we didn't deserve that.
With divorce rates rising, the rules are suddenly and unfairly altered. Deprived of her marriage, she completely loses her identity.
I had no control over any aspect of anything. I was completely at Mr. Broderick's mercy. That house was in Dan's name. The car was in Dan's name. Anytime he wanted to just jerk me around, I was tied to the end of the string with him, and he did that, and my life went like that.
It was on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 50. It was the worst kind of divorce you could have.
I was telling people I was crazy. I went crazy. I was like this, and you see pictures of me like this, like I'm some kind of an electrified, crazy person.
When confronted, Dan denies any affair with Linda Kolkina, blaming and inflaming Betty.
I will parade every person in San Diego County you've ever met to testify loudly what a drunken, selfish, cold-hearted, rotten you were every year of your life. I have very important things to ask you. You're making me mad. I'll kill you.
It was a death clinch. Both of them were like 2 comets coming at each other, and neither one could give an inch. at all on anything. Dan was obviously having an affair. When she would want to know what was wrong, why he was staying out late, he would start telling her, well, it was her looks.
A lot of this was my fault because I was old and fat and ugly and boring and stupid.
Try to be younger. Absolutely flawlessly perfect for Dan Broderick.
So Dan, at that point in time, started telling Betty things like that she was crazy, that things weren't really happening, that the things she was seeing were not really true.
When someone's having an affair, they're naturally usually going to deny that there's an affair because they have a lot to lose by doing that. So is denying an affair gaslighting, or is it just bad behavior and lying?
Gaslighting is a strategy used in Jack Early's defense. In Betty's testimony, she claims Dan's behavior was relentless.
Gaslighting is a series of manipulative techniques or strategies in order to make someone feel like they're going crazy or to keep them off kilter. And the goal is to achieve power and control over someone, and also to make that person dependent on the gaslighter for their version of reality.
He wanted me to kill myself so that he could go on living and just say, see, I told you all, she was just a nut. She was just crazy.
It was a very contentious divorce, but contentious divorce doesn't necessarily mean that you go in and murder your ex-husband and his wife.
If he did not have the right to divorce her, she couldn't stop that, but she could make his life unlivable or end it.
At the time of the shooting, I think Betty had resigned herself that everything was over. All she wanted was her children back. She admitted defeat. For Betty, this is somebody who talked up. Their feelings were hurt. For many, many, many women, I think they need to hear that someone understands how they feel. I know that Betty's legacy is giving voice to those people.
After almost 3 decades in prison, the incessant media spotlight makes this case as provocative and controversial as ever. Betty Broderick, defiant and unapologetic, has been denied parole twice. Her next opportunity for a hearing is 2032. She'll be 85 years old.